Well, it's Tuesday, and you know what that means? New reveals, including a very shocking species reveal here, coming hot off the heels of positive identification of there being a new animal in the game yet to see. This may or may not be that. We'll talk about it after we watch the trailer. Very happy to see
Try
this
to keep
guy.
up with the Ornithomimus, an exciting speedster for your herbivore exhibits. Resembling modern ostriches, these agile herbivores move in lively groups and are perfect for creating dynamic paddocks. Guests love watching their bursts of speed and group behavior, especially when they explore or play together. Easygoing and highly compatible, they mix well with other small herbivores. Just give them plenty of territory to roam. Energetic, expressive, crowd-pleasing, the Ornithomimus can bring movement and joy to every corner of your next exhibit.
All right. This is a solid addition to the game. This was on my extended list. I did not have this in my predictions, at least not my recent predictions. But it was or should have been on my honorable mentions list is something I thought might get into the game. Feathered Ornithomimus is definitely something we were. I hate to say due, but we were due with all the feathered species in JWE2. This was like a noticeable gap in the feathered species roster, not having a proper feathered Ornithomimus. Ornithomimus makes sense. This guy's stocks went up with Prehistoric Planet. I kind of wish he would have had the awesome Elvis haircut from Prehistoric Planet, but I like this design too. Um, yeah, this the color the male having this like brightly colored neck is really cool, very unique as far as patterning goes. Excellent example of unique dimorphism. The feathering looks good. We got the tail fan you expect, the wings. I honestly think at first glance my initial expectation for an Ithomimosaur would be slightly bigger wings, but I don't think there's any problem with this. This is just vibes. Um, at least it's not like Oviraptor level of not like the franchise Oviraptor. The problem with that animal is it doesn't have proper wings. It just has some feathers hanging off. This at least is a wing very clearly. So it good. Yeah. Female here, male here, presumably, with the thicker and pattern neck. Very neat. I like the spots and stuff on this one. This is a great animal. Not a carnivore, which is shocking, right? Like, I think everybody's expectations were that we're gonna get a carnivore next, or get a carnivore as the last remaining new species. But we got this. I still think we have a carnivore waiting in the wings, so I'm gonna say we still probably got one more new species coming. Um, we'll have to check the website. I haven't looked at the website yet. We'll do that next. And maybe that'll confirm that we don't. We'll see. Nice example of the patterning here on this one. So this is the dimorphic difference between the two, I'm thinking, with the neck. And then this is the pattern, actually, for the male. So this is the part you toggle on and off is the stripes. I like these. I especially like the way these stripes extend down the body to the tail fan. That's neat. Not splotches. Huge. Frontier. Stop with splotches, please. Now, we got some recycled animations here. Oh, look at that. That is a sick design. Wait, that's so good. That's a viewing gallery completely embedded in a rock surface. That's so cool. Holy crap. What a great thing to put in the background of a video just to show terrain tool stuff off. Well, I guess modular building more so. Like those are clearly individual rocks that have been like stacked along the roof of the viewing gallery. That's so good. Juvenile there. This hop, and later you see him do kind of a little dance. Yeah, that part right there. That's recycled Ornithomimosaur animations. This is what all the baby Ornithomimosaurs do. This little hop and shuffle. Um, yeah, very funny that this is in because after we got Archaeornithomimus, everybody's like, oh no, 2 Ornithomimusaurs, there's no shot we get Struthiomimus. There's no way they'd put 3 in the game. And now we have 4, which is crazy. I'm not mad about it. Honestly, this should have been DLC. This is not a particularly strong addition to the base game roster in terms of diversity. Again, I'm not mad about it. I'm happy to see this guy. I'm sure that most of the animals, that I'm missing from JWE2 will come back pretty quickly. Quickly being like a year. But yeah, I feel like everybody said this, the base game roster could have used some more diversity. This is not helping that, but yeah. At least it's cool. Let's see. Environments look nice. I do like the fact that we've got like this desert biome and it's like dramatically different. That's the nest right there. Very cool. Okay, let's look at first let me discuss the website numbering. So, we mentioned this in the last news video we did on the channel, but people being Hiplobinoxa were on Reddit looked into the code of the website and found out that you could find a species ID for each animal that came from the game databases, which told us that something was missing between the park manager collection species, which ended at 122, and the currently revealed new species, which started at 124. So there was one animal missing. Now, today, with the website update and the new species, I was very interested in pouring into this code and trying to figure out where they found this information and if we could find Ornithomimus's number. And if we zoom in here, well, I think they're onto us, boys, because it seems the number for the genetic species ID has been replaced by a pair of eyes, telling us we're not supposed to be looking at that. So we cannot find out if this was the mysterious animal number 123 or if this was a new animal added to the end of the list. We do not know. This example here is Brachiosaurus, but I did check through the list, and every species ID number has been replaced by this pair of eyes. So, yep, too bad. Now, onto the website. So, of course, we have Ornithomimus. We'll start at the top of the list and go through these as they come up, and then we'll look at what this means for the roster predictions. Chungkingosaurus, we had this confirmed from the what's it called? The facility where you buy the dinosaurs, the marketplace, that's it, right? A while back, first time actually seeing it in game. I am a Chungking enjoyer. This was my favorite Asian Stegosaurid. I'm happy to see him come back. Some people, not so much. Dimorphism, what do we got? Slightly bigger shoulder spines, I think. It looks like there's a little bit of extra extension there. I think it would be neat if the kind of the waddle the Chungking always had was kind of turned into a male feature. Can't really tell here with the angle on what I'm presuming is the female. Not very interesting skin choice for these guys either. The Chungking actually has some pretty good skins. Kind of a missed opportunity to not make this guy look like a big turd, but whatever. Yeah, the spikes, I don't know if the spikes in the back are really all that much bigger. I mean, depending on what this guy's doing in terms of his animations, they're about the same height. Baby looks cute, about what you'd expect. Nothing too amazing. The shoulder spines, of course, are underdeveloped, which is a nice detail. They probably ought to be. Yeah, not an amazing reveal aesthetically there. Very similar. Compy confirmed. There was some doubt from some people on Reddit that this animal was going to be in the game, even though it was confirmed in an article a while back. So here it is. I'm thinking, okay, look at this. Stripes on the thigh here, right? On both of these. I don't think they have stripes there in 2. Are these repatterned? Because that'd be weird. I don't know. Good look at the size they're going with the juvenile here. About shoulder height, not substantially hugely different, which is probably about what we would have expected. But, early on, people, of course, expected that we weren't getting juvenile copies and small animals at all. So, not surprising that it's probably a bit closer in scale. This guy looks like he's got a little bit of colorization on the head between the eyes there. A little, almost like a little ridge. It's kind of present on the other one. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure which one's supposed to be necessarily the male. It feels like this guy with the brighter stripes on the thigh is the male, but the stripes are on the other one. And just the striping in general on the back looks more noticeable on both than I would have expected. Diplodocus, one of my faves. Yeah, those are Diplodocuses. Any differences? This guy looks like maybe he's got a rougher neck, but it might be lighting. Hard to say. Always like the baby here, of course. Yeah, not much. Yeah, see, this one looks like it's got a rougher neck. This guy looks more barrel shaped, though. So I'm thinking this is the male because he's thick. Maybe. Again, like, the angling could throw that off a little bit. Hard to say. I would have liked a nicer pattern for the male opportunity to, especially for the sauropod, the dimorphism is a good opportunity to make them more interesting visually. Not really doing that here. I mean, we haven't seen the full range of like colors and patterns yet, I guess. So they could still do something there. Indoraptor, not a surprising one at all. Won't spend too much time looking at him. Direct port from 2. Metriacanthosaurus. Okay, there's our first website confirmation of something we did not have confirmed. Very cool. This one with the green nose is the male, presumably, because this is new patterning. Yep. Baby is probably using all the same carnivore animations. This was on... There was a soft confirmation of Metriacanthosaurus. So from what okay, let me think about this. Last time we looked through the species list, we included Albertosaurus based off some of EvoSquare's comments. Apparently, she doesn't support Albertosaurus anymore. Probably a misidentified Allosaurus based on like alphabetical placement, I think is what people were saying. And then there was discussion that she had seen a Metri statue or something like that. Also, Metri is a pretty iconic JWE animal, so this is not a shocking include. We had some circumstantial evidence that this was already in, and now we've got circumstantial evidence, and then franchise history and evolution specifically. So obvious inclusion. Happy to see it though. Very cool. Very good animal. Dimorphism, not too crazy there. It looks like a little bulkier male, maybe too, in addition to the colorization. But yeah, these guys though, the Ornithomimus dimorphism's excellent. Especially this with the red on the head here as well, which I didn't point out. This is given very strong like bird vibes with the way the neck and the face are colored there. Very cool. Parasaurolophus. Not a new reveal, but nice to see him in action. Could see the difference between the male and female head crests. I would be curious if a direct comparison was made to JWE2, if this is another animal where the male and female neither captures exactly the animal as it was presented in 2. Because I wouldn't be surprised if the female crest is a little shortened and the male is a little elongated. And then the 2 version is maybe in between the 2, but hard to say. Yeah, I got the baby with the underdeveloped horn, of course. Makes perfect sense. Wish he was quadrupedal, but what you gonna do? Scorpius Rex. So we got a double hybrid reveal this week. There was some doubt that this animal was coming in, but most people expected it. The only doubt being that Camp Cretaceous is in a really weird spot. Probably, actually, I think the addition of at least 2 new animals this week means Camp Cretaceous is out. It can't be fully in the game anymore, I don't think, because it was taking up almost all of the remaining roster. People should never have been expecting it to be in the game at this point because, ooh, very interesting. Okay, I gotta talk about this in a second. Let's finish the Camp Cretaceous point. People, let's actually get it on screen, huh? Did I have the Scorpius Rex on screen? I need to pay attention to my previews. Well, anyway, Scorpius is another port. But yes, people should not have been expecting Camp Cretaceous to fully make it in, given that it would be very strange if almost the entire final wave of reveals was Camp Cretaceous. Okay, this is very interesting. What they've done here for the Sinoceratops is they've made the female a paleo-accurate Sinoceratops while still keeping features of the franchise. What I mean by that, Sinoceratops has this incredibly exaggerated frill in the franchise that doesn't really look like the real animal's more realistic frill, but they've given that to the female. This is very interesting. Very strong sexual dimorphism, but in a way that allows them to slip a degree of paleo accuracy in, and while still keeping like the film design. Very interesting stylistic choice. I like it. Baby looks very cute. The horn is substantially smaller on the female too, which I think might be closer to paleo accuracy as well. Still very strong hippo vibes with how fat that body is, which I'm not against. Fascinating. This kind of explains maybe why we haven't seen this animal. Sinoceratops was in a weird spot for the longest time because we had Spinoceratops confirmed. It was in the preview build, but Sinoceratops wasn't. And it was the only animal that was confirmed by the preview build because it was still required for the research for the Spinoceratops, which you just could not make in the preview build. Like you could make it in Sandbox, but you couldn't actually like make it in a campaign level in the preview build. And this is maybe why. Cool. Is that it? 7 days until reveal shows 1 egg. Interesting. That's kind of strange, not gonna lie. Huh. 70 dinosaurs. Are we... How many was this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, we missed Nasuto. Shit. We'll check that in a second. 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, no, this was a full 10. Are we still missing a hybrid? 70 dinosaurs. So, Anki. We got Scorp, we got Indo, we got Indo. We got Spino, Spinoraptor, Spinoceratops, Enceladicus, and Stegoceratops. Yeah, so all the hybrids are revealed. So they did double up on hybrids this week. So maybe we're only getting like 1 new reveal next week? Because if they did 10, it would kind of be everything. Almost. So maybe they're staggering these out more in the final lead up to release. We'll have to look at the species roster again and see what's missing. Nasutoceratops. Male, female. Hard to tell. So the thing with the Pseudoceratops, sorry, let me scroll that up a little bit better, center it more. The thing with this animal is this is one of the strongest in franchise sexual dimorphism animals we have, right? Other than like the raptors and the T-Rex maybe, where Battle at Big Rock gives us a very clear male and female. um, design. So it should have transferred into the game very cleanly. And honestly doesn't seem to have done that. The nose on the male, from what I remember, is much more pronounced. Let me pull up the reference image. This shows perfectly what I'm talking about. You can see the male has this, there's this texture here on the nose, which ends in this kind of hook, right? And then the female doesn't have that. You can see it perfectly there in silhouette. Also, just kind of generally some harsher features, a little bit more like narrow and extended snout on the male, and then the horns are a bit bigger, and the frill shape is a bit different, sloping kind of back more versus the female frill. Now, hard to tell at this angle. They might have the frills right. Again, with the angle, also hard to tell with the horns. The horns here on the male extend to the end of the snout. The horns here on this male extend well beyond the end of the snout. Actually, here with female, too. Yeah, I don't know. The Nisuto's always been weird. This animal was redesigned in 2, coming off of 1. It looks pretty different in the 2 games. Yeah, you could see there is no hook on the end of that snout there. I don't know why. Honestly, don't know why this isn't more accurate. There's not a good excuse for it. It's fine. It should be better. It really should. I don't want to excuse it, but it's not the worst. Did he have that hook in Chaos Theory? Because I remember discussing that. Yeah, the hook is also present in the Chaos Theory version, which I brought up in my reaction videos that this was clearly male designs. Obviously, a pair of males here hanging out, 6 feet apart because they're not gay. But people object to that. It's clearly a case of Chaos Theory. They have a single cartoonified model that happens to be based on the male, and they're just using it for everything. Obviously that. So yeah, some new animals to see here that aren't new confirmations. Metri really is the only new one. Then Ornithomimus. If we took our roster from last time, cut Alberto, replace it with Metri, and add Ornithomimus, that's essentially 5 unconfirmed slots in the roster that still remain. Technically enough to fit Camp Cretaceous, especially with the Chaos Theory animals being cut and Tarbosaurus being cut. But again, same argument from last time. No non-hybrid Camp Cretaceous animals revealed. No reason to think that out of the final 5 new reveals, 4 or whatever are going to be Camp Cretaceous animals. That would be Mono, Arano, Kentro, and Notho, presumably. Maybe Notho's held back for a rework, and there's, Arano, Kentro, and Monolothosaurus to be seen yet, but I can't see them deliberately holding back 3 Camp Cretaceous animals for like the final reveals. That's just weird and crazy. All right, let's predict the last 5 slots. All right, lock of the week. 5 remaining species. This is my current vibe. This is my current feeling. New medium or large carnivore. Perhaps a Megaraptor, Torvosaurus, Moposaurus, or something else. I would like a large Bellisaurid, or a small Bellisaurid, or just any Bellisaurid. But I feel like a Megaraptoran or like Torvosaurus is more likely. I think Oangosaurus, Polacanthus are coming back. These are animals that are fairly generic. They kind of have other stand-ins in the game, and I think in the same way we already have Sauropelta and Notosaurus, all 3 ornithomimids, and Gigant Chungking, I think we'll see Huango and Polacanthus come back with reused rigs. I think Camp Cretaceous is completely cut for now, as far as the standalone non-hybrid animals go, I mean. So none of those make it in. Camarasaurus I put on the list for the same reason. It is another JWE1 base game sauropod. It's not generic enough to be an exciting thing to market for an update. I think it makes it into base game. And then my final pick, Albertosaurus. Why did I pick Albertosaurus? A lot of franchise history dating back to Trespasser. It's a JPOG animal. It's a medium carnivore, which we could use more of. And it comes from Claire's Sanctuary DLC, which currently with the roster we have, I mentioned this previously when we discussed the roster, we have at least one animal from almost every DLC in the game's history, the exception being the Claire's DLC and then the Cretaceous shit, I got it here in a tab. I forgot the name. This one, Late Cretaceous pack. So if we bring in Albertosaurus, then we have an inclusion from Claire's DLC, and the only DLC that isn't represented would be the Late Cretaceous pack. If we think that should be represented, then we can bring in maybe Australovenator in place of Camarasaurus. I think there's still merit to a Japanese species making it into the game. So maybe we bump Camarasaurus for Fukui Raptor. I don't know. The DLC balance thing is maybe a little bit like numerology or pareidolia grasping at some straws here, but I'm gonna use it as a point in Albertosaurus's favor amongst many other points. I'm gonna stick with these 5. I honestly really do think we need a Japanese species, but I'm just not sure it's going to happen because none of them are particularly distinctive. So that's my lock. To reiterate, Huengo, Polacanthus, Camarasaurus, Albertosaurus, a new species which is a large carnivore. I also should reiterate that is under the perspective that Filmkina animals are in. That's with considering Oviraptor and Therizinosaurus confirmed. They technically aren't confirmed, but I don't think there's any way a film animal like those would be cut. I did mention this on Reddit. Oviraptor technically isn't in the movie. It's in the extended edition. So if they did want to cut it, they do have a justification. Worth pointing out, in the trailer also, we did have this shot with a little camper and truck in the background, which is interesting. Camper here in the foreground too. So probably some like placeable decorative vehicles, which might be fun. You could build like a parking lot for your park. Very neat. As expected, the subreddit is of course on fire regarding the Nicidoceratops and Sinoceratops choices. Well, I think we can wrap this video up here. I will say, looking through some commentary on Reddit, a lot of people are saying 82 species confirmed. Don't know exactly where that number is coming from. We're at 81. So maybe drop the Camaro or the Alberto from my predictions. If I ever figure out where that discrepancy is coming from. Anyway, not terribly important. We'll just find out next week. We don't have... Like, if we had one more animal revealed here, maybe then it would really start to, prove things. But Metri was, like, a fairly predictable inclusion. So we can't really break any new ground here. So, yeah, until next time.